Welcome to the deep dive. If you're here, it's because you want to cut through the noise. You want to bypass all that information overload and just get deep, comprehensive knowledge fast.
Yep, we take all the sources, the articles, the research you provide, and we distill it. We find the critical insights so you can be instantly well-informed.
So today, we're tackling a linguistic phenomenon that, well, it frustrates learners all over the world.
It really does.
We're doing a deep dive into the grammar of natural conversation. And our mission here is to close the enormous gap between the English you learn in a formal classroom
Right, the textbook English?
and the English that's actually used every single day by native speakers. We're on the hunt for those specific, high-utility phrases that make your speech sound smoother, faster, and, genuinely confident.
It's really the difference between being grammatically correct and being pragmatically successful.
Yeah.
We're trying to move beyond just vocabulary lists and focus on the social code that's embedded in the language.
Let's just set the stage right away with that contrast that really defines this problem. A learner using a formal structure might want to say they'll follow up later. So they'd say, I will reply to you later.
But the natural, more efficient conversational shortcut is, of course, I'll get back to you. It uses that powerful phrasal verb.
Exactly. Or let's say you're offering reassurance. The textbook might suggest the very literal, it is no problem.
While in real life, especially in casual settings, that gets compressed right down into the super friendly, high frequency, no worries.
No worries.
And that contrast right there between that sort of stilted formality and the efficient fluidity,
Yeah.
that's what we really need to unpack.
Okay, so let's unpack that core struggle right now. First section of our deep dive is asking this. Why do learners spend years mastering complex syntax, vocabulary, all of it, and yet still sound, stiff and unnatural?
Right.
What's that foundational element, the why behind these expressions, that textbooks just seem to fail to teach?
So the sources, they really highlight that learners successfully acquire syntax, the rules for arranging words, but they critically miss pragmatic competence.
Pragmatic competence. Right?
And pragmatics is all about the social and cultural context of how language is used. It's not about whether a sentence is correct. It's about whether it's appropriate and efficient for the situation.
That makes so much sense. So the textbook teaches you the architecture, but not the social flow.
Precisely. And the key mechanism driving this natural flow is efficiency. And that's often achieved through a process called illusion.
Illusion.
It's the dropping of words, subjects, verbs, conjunctions that are just implied or understood. So when you hear someone say, sounds good, for instance, the speaker has performed this massive illusion. They've dropped that it is.
The whole beginning of the sentence.
The whole thing. They're relying entirely on a shared understanding.
So when the learner says, this is acceptable, they're being syntactically complete, but they're also using, 3 words they just don't need?
Right. They are speaking slowly, formally, and it kind of signals that the language is being processed internally first. The person who says, sounds good, is just speaking efficiently, and that is the core grammar of natural conversation.
And learning these lets you communicate faster, with less mental energy.
Which is a huge confidence booster. It means you're engaging, not just translating in your head.
That explanation of illusion is so key for you, the listener. It moves this from just a list of phrases to replace to actually understanding a linguistic principle.
Exactly.
So now that we get the mechanism, let's jump into section 2. Mastering the everyday response. This is probably the simplest social interaction, but it's often the biggest fluency hurdle, isn't it?
Absolutely. The universal question is, how are you? And the universal textbook reply, we all know it. I'm fine, thank you.
Wow.
It's often a dead giveaway of a non-native speaker. Even if it's technically polite, it just signals a stiffness that we want to overcome.
So we need to swap that out for something that's friendly, flexible, and common. What are the top 3 high-frequency alternatives that immediately signal naturalness?
Okay, the sources are very clear on these 3 workhorses. First one, the slightly cautious but very widely used, not too bad.
I love not too bad, but let me just introduce some friction here. If a learner translates the word bad literally, is there a risk of sounding negative? When would pretty good actually be the safer default?
That is a crucial observation because this is exactly where pragmatic competence matters more than just vocabulary. The sources clarify that not too bad is almost always delivered with a rising or a neutral inflection. That turns the bad into a cautious positive. But if a learner uses a flat or a falling inflection, it can fail pragmatically. It can sound genuinely miserable.
Okay.
So for ease of use and a universally positive reception, you're right, pretty good is almost always the safer bet.
So inflection is the silent grammar here. Got it.
Yeah.
What's the third essential alternative?
The third is the highly natural, maybe slightly self-deprecating response that signals things are fine because, well, they haven't gotten worse. Can't complain.
Can't complain. I like that.
Oh.
It implies a kind of stability, which is highly relatable in everyday life.
It really is.
So if you can use one of these three, pretty good, not too bad, or can't complain, you've instantly passed the first fluency hurdle of the day.
And you've moved from just translating a state of being to engaging in a social ritual. That signals comfort with the language itself.
Okay, so that's how we start a conversation. Now let's transition into section 3, navigating social dynamics. Once the conversation's flowing, we need the tools to manage the interaction, agreeing, politely disagreeing, and, active engagement.
Right.
Let's focus on natural agreement first. How do we sound truly engaged when we agree, moving past just a passive, I agree?
Yeah, agreement needs to be dynamic. The sources show us how speakers confirm they're on the same wavelength. So beyond the simple, direct, true, we have
Exactly, which is
used to confirm precision and really high alignment.
And what about the phrase that signals not just agreement, but like a shared frustration or a shared understanding?
Oh, that's the quintessential phrase. I know, right?
Yes.
It is incredibly powerful because it's an appeal for mutual affirmation. It translates roughly to, I am confident you share this feeling, please confirm it for me. It's pure conversational bonding.
That's a great way to put it. However, this is one phrase where context is everything. I know, right? Feels inherently informal.
Oh, absolutely.
So should the learner just avoid using this in professional or highly formal settings?
100%. The high level of informality and that shared assumption built into the phrase, it makes it totally inappropriate for, say, a formal business presentation or a meeting with a new client.
Right.
It's for shared experiences among peers. The learner has to practice when to deploy these efficient voices, not just what they are.
That is crucial advice. Okay, let's pivot to the opposite function. Polite disagreement. Fluency isn't just about agreeing. It's about holding your ground confidently without being rude or shutting down the whole discussion. What techniques do the sources recommend for softening a critique?
The primary technique is validation before objection. You need to show that you processed their point first.
Okay.
And the most diplomatic phrase for this is, I see your point, but...
That structure is so vital. It acknowledges the other person's competence before you introduce the conflict.
It is the ultimate tool for maintaining social harmony during a disagreement. And a second one, if you want to question the certainty of a position without directly attacking the speaker, you can use... I'm not sure what that...
I use that one a lot.
It shifts the focus from you are wrong to I need more data to be convinced. It encourages dialogue.
Now, for the interjections. Showing active interest is often what distinguishes a listener from an active participant. If you just nod, you're passive.
Right.
What are the small, essential phrases, the little vocal cues that keep the conversation alive?
These are the responses that show genuine dynamic reaction. So for curiosity or mild surprise, you'd use, oh, really? For stronger astonishment or disbelief, you use the colloquial, no way.
No way is such a high-impact phrase. It's often delivered with a little bit of a gasp.
Exactly. The delivery adds to the meaning. Then you have the more direct challenge to what was said. Are you serious?
Okay.
And the simple positive phrase that just keeps the emotional tone warm, that's interesting. Using these, especially the variations on surprise, proves you are emotionally invested in what's being said.
Fantastic. So we've established how to enter the conversation smoothly and navigate emotional agreement and disagreement. But now we need the utility belt.
Yes.
The phrases that rescue us when the communication just hits a minor snag, which, let's be honest, happens to everyone. So let's look at section 4. Essential utility phrases for managing time and clarity.
These are the practical tools. Natural conversation is full of small delays, little moments of processing, and needs for clarification. And if the learner relies on translating a formal request like, please wait for me for a short moment,
Oh, that would just stop the conversation cold.
it disrupts the flow entirely. So how do we ask someone to wait naturally and efficiently?
You just leverage that elision again and you simplify it to just a second.
Just a second.
Or if you need a moment of mental processing time, which again is entirely natural, especially when you're speaking a second language, the utility phrase is, let me think, it signals action is being taken rather than just an awkward silence.
That phrase instantly fills the dead air with productive language. That's huge for confidence.
It manages expectations gracefully. Now let's talk clarity. When you're dealing with complex ideas, or maybe just someone speaking really fast, it's vital to confirm you understand.
So what's the key phrase for checking or paraphrasing what was just said?
Well, if you need to confirm the money takeaway, the phrase you should be practicing is, so what you're saying is,
Yeah.
it's highly effective both professionally and casually for synthesizing information.
Yeah, I use that all the time. And finally, confirming acceptance of an idea or a plan. We mentioned sounds good earlier, but what's another natural, maybe slightly more robust alternative for saying, this plan is acceptable to me? The ultimate high-utility, low-effort phrase is, works for me.
Works for me.
It's direct, it's casual, and it gets the acceptance across instantly without sounding all formal.
So when we synthesize the importance of these practical phrases, what we see is that they're kind of like the conversational shock absorbers.
That's a great way to put it. They provide the necessary friction points, the pauses, the checks, the delays, without requiring the learner to stop and construct some complex, literal sentence. They are prepackaged solutions to conversational problems.
So what does this all mean for you, the listener? We've covered greetings, sophisticated agreement, disagreement, managing time, and checking for clarity. The key lesson here, drawn directly from the research, is that real-life fluency comes not primarily from memorizing complex grammar rules,
No.
but from the active usage of these pragmatic structures.
Fluency isn't measured by the number of words you know. It's measured by the speed and the appropriateness with which you deploy the ones that truly matter in a daily exchange.
It's all about forming automatic habits with these common conversational structures.
That's it.
Which brings us to our actionable takeaway for you. Don't try to learn all 30-plus expressions we've talked about at once. That's just overwhelming.
Go do it.
Instead, choose just three. Three high-leverage expressions. Maybe it's pretty good. And works for me. And commit to using them today. Use them in your messages, in your internal thoughts, and crucially, in your next live conversation. Force the usage.
And this leads us to a final thought for you to mull over.
Okay.
If the goal is to make these natural, efficient expressions a permanent part of your conversational toolkit,
Yeah.
what existing, more formal phrase do you rely on right now? Maybe it's I am thinking, or yes, that is acceptable. What's a phrase that you can permanently replace with one of these new, natural options?
So you're saying find your own personal stiff phrase and consciously swap it out.
Exactly. By deliberately substituting that old stiff phrase with the new one, you accelerate that transition from textbook English to real-life fluency, that deliberate replacement strategy. Something worth considering right now.